Heavy blowing snow has officials closing I-90 from Chamberlain to the Wyoming state line. Plus, Rapid City Regional Airport closed late this morning, canceling all flights in and out. And all this wind and snow are hammering KOTA Territory. We have live team coverage from all across the region. Your news starts now.
From Skyline Drive, this is KOTA Territory News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Long. Jack has the evening off. Just as forecast, blizzard conditions are rumbling across our entire region. Heavy snow combined with wicked winds are taking their toll. We have live team coverage tonight of what's happening right now. Now take a look at this. Earlier this evening, a semi rolled over at the corner of Catron and Highway 16. According to a tweet by the Pennington County Sheriff's Office, there were no tow trucks out, but just take a look at that picture. Take a look at the blowing snow. Take a look at what the wind did to that truck. That semi is staying right there for now. We begin with a quick look at some key elements. Officials are emphasizing there is a no travel advisory for Rapid City and all of Pennington County. That semi shows us why. I-90 is closed from Chamberlain to the Wyoming border. Rapid City Regional Airport is closed. All flights are canceled, both in and out. Many schools are closed, and Pennington County has pulled snowplows off the highways due to dangerous conditions. We have teams of reporters across the city and the state bringing to us the conditions that are on the ground. We start with our downtown team. Brooklyn DeGumbia is at the Alex Johnson. And Brooklyn, how are things looking in the heart of downtown?
Steve, there is a no travel advisory issued here in Rapid City. Now we've seen a couple cars try to break down this road and just slide right past the stoplight. And right there, as you see, people are obviously still out. Highway I-90 is closed from the edge of Wyoming down to Sioux Falls. So I don't know about you guys, but to me it looks like no one's coming into Rapid City or leaving tonight. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Brooklyn. Very snowy down there. Chief Meteorologist Mike Modrick has been tracking this storm since it started last week in the northern Pacific. And Mike joins us now as we continue our team coverage. Mike?
Well, Steve, we're starting off with a video that was sent in by Amanda from the Deadwood Chamber. And this was the view in Deadwood just an hour or so ago. The snow is really continuing to come on down. The visibility is poor. Couple of souls out on the sidewalk, one even with a snow shovel, but conditions are deteriorating even there. And this is the DOT cam on the south side of Deadwood. The conditions getting pretty icy. No travel is advised here into the northern Black Hills either, although those roads have not been closed as of yet. It is I-90 that is closed. We've got the blizzard warnings in effect across northern Wyoming, southeast Montana, western South Dakota, up to North Dakota, down to Nebraska, and a winter storm warning here for the Black Hills. The difference is the wind and the visibility situation. The visibility would be zero out here on the plains, especially as the sun is going down for us. So the worst conditions will be out on the plains. And we're tracking some pretty hefty bands of snow right now from right around Rapid City just to the east across I-90. That's why it's closed, because the visibility is just going to be horrendous. We continue with horizontal snow, and it's not so much how much will fall, it's the accumulation where it gets a chance to drift up. I'm still expecting 4-foot drifts easy that I'm going to have to be cleaning up tomorrow, and other parts of the plains could get 5 or 6 foot drifts. We'll hold temperatures getting back down into the 20s. Still could be a little blowing snow early in the morning, especially on the open plains, but we will see skies clearing out more and more as we pull up to a windy 31 tomorrow. Now we'll take a more detailed look at road conditions, Steve, coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Mike, thank you. Due to treacherous conditions, we talked about I-90 being closed all the way over to the Wyoming border. State Highway Patrol troopers, though, are still out on the lookout for drivers stuck in ditches. Highway Patrol Sergeant Shan Barrick says North Plaza Drive near Deadwood Avenue tends to be an area of concern. This afternoon, winds picking up and blowing the snow harshly around. I-90, as we said, closed, but Sergeant Barrick told us earlier while it was still open that it's a concern because it's a flat area.
That area that seems to be around this area is anything east of Rapid City or east of Ox Elder because of the open roads, the flat plains, the wind blowing the snow across the road causes the road to ice up very quickly, and that seems to be a problem area that we have more so than any other areas around.
Right now, no travel is advised. However, if you must go out, please remember to have an emergency backpack in the car with food, water, and blankets. At 10:30 this morning, Rapid City Regional Airport canceled all flights for the rest of the day due to weather conditions. Passengers tried to arrive before the storm, and early morning flights did make it out, but that changed quickly as the day progressed. Even with clear runways and good visibility later in the morning at the airport, other cities were not as lucky. About 15 flights have been canceled total. At the Delta desk, staff members worked to accommodate those who needed to change their flights.
It's been delayed, canceled, then they moved me to the 5 p.m. flight. And they just moved me to the 6 a.m. flight tomorrow, and then I just found out that this airport's not even going to be open then. So 5 p.m. tomorrow is my next flight.
With the closing of the airport, people should contact their airline for any flight information, with the airport now completely shut down. We continue our team coverage of the blizzard in Spearfish, where our Stuart Huntington is monitoring the conditions. Stuart, how are things looking?
Well, Steve, the storm started here with a whisper, a mist that turned to fog, but by mid-morning, it was a full-fledged storm, and as you can see, it hasn't let up. Now, by mid-afternoon, the Spearfish police issued their own no travel advisory here in Spearfish, and they haven't ruled out issuing a travel ban if conditions merit. How are folks coping up here, Steve? Well, this is the Northern Hills, and they've seen a snowstorm or two.
Well, actually, we've been listening to the weather for the last few days, so we knew this was coming. Preparation-wise, we did go to the store even late last night just to make sure we had everything that we needed. And even at 9 o'clock last night, the place was packed. So we're prepared. It's March. It's Spearfish. These things are going to happen.
Now, Steve, the Spearfish City offices and the schools were closed today, and Spearfish offices will open again tomorrow at noon, but there's no need to check on the schools. They'll be closed. You know why? It's spring break. Steve?
Thank you, Stuart. Spring break, but not tropical. Still ahead tonight on KOTA Territory News at 5:30, we take a short break from storm coverage. Have you ever wondered if your past credit history could come back to bite you? Answers to that, plus more storm coverage, still ahead. Alicia Garcia investigates credit cards next in Consumer Reports. Credit scores are used for so many transactions. A low credit score can stand in the way of your hopes and dreams, like buying a house or a new car, even getting a new job. In tonight's Consumer Reports, Alicia Garcia reveals important tips on how to repair your credit score if it's in the dumps.
If we have this and we don't have trust, then we don't have nothing.
Dialect is a rap artist and educator. In 2011, he decided to settle down and buy a house with his partner Pamela. But a credit score he hadn't checked in years came back to haunt him.
I never had any reason to think that it was bad.
And then we actually checked a score and saw that it was basically in the 500s.
When the bank refused to give him a mortgage because of the low score, Dialect began repairing his credit, which had been damaged by a student loan that was in collections.
Depending on the reasons for a low credit score, it can take months or even years to raise a low score to a good score, say 700. It also takes discipline.
One of the most important things to do is pay all your bills on time. That accounts for about 35% of your FICO score, the most common credit scoring system. Consumer Report says if you have credit cards, try to keep your balances to no more than 10% of your available credit. Anything more could show elevated credit risk.
Another tip is to consider taking out a personal loan to pay your credit card debt. Having a greater variety of credit types might help your credit score. Plus, you may get a lower rate of interest with the loan.
If you can't get a traditional credit card because of your credit history, that was a case for Dialect, go for a secured credit card. That type requires a deposit to protect the issuer. Make timely payments and your credit score could improve. With your Consumer Report, I'm Alicia Garcia.
And finally, request a free credit report once a year from each of the 3 reporting agencies, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, to monitor your progress and spot any errors. You can do that through annualreport.com. Chief Meteorologist Mike Modrick is tracking tonight's snow and blowing snow. Your accurate first alert forecast is next.
As a first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mike Modrick.
This is our Golden West weather camera, and this is back at 1 o'clock, and the storm was really just getting itself put together at that point. But look how the conditions have deteriorated. Main Street has gone to white conditions. No travel advised in Rapid City, but the latest word that we had is that the city plows are continuing to work the main roads, but no travel is advised right now as people are still trying to get home. It's pretty icy and treacherous and low visibility too. 29 right now the temperature. The winds steady at 48 miles per hour with higher gusts. Now this is a graphic I showed last night on KOTA Territory News at 10 o'clock, and I just wanted to recap this because this is the graphic I showed for this morning, saying it was just going to be cloudy. In fact, my specific words were, you're going to wake up and say, there is no storm this morning. And that's exactly what happened. We had visibility of over 10 miles. By the lunch hour, what I said was, would have winds getting upwards of 25 to 40 miles per hour, the blowing snow starting to develop, visibility 2 to 5 miles. When the airport was completely closed, the visibility was still at 2 miles at the airport. And then for the afternoon, of course, the horizontal snow, 40 to 60 mile per hour winds, drifting of that snow, and visibility of a mile or less. And that is exactly what we have, and this is where we're going to stay through the night. The windy conditions, 40 to 60 mile per hour winds, higher gusts, horizontal snow. Wherever it doesn't have to stop, it can keep blowing. So accumulations are kind of tough to talk about. Where it gets a chance to pile up, that's where it can be a 4-foot drift or even a 6-foot or 7-foot drift out over the open plains. Early in the morning, still some of the horizontal snow or even just blowing of the existing snow that's already fallen. We're in the 20s for starters, just up to 31. The winds will be a little less severe into the afternoon, but even at that point, 20 to 40 mile per hour winds. Blizzard warnings continue. Eastern Wyoming, western South Dakota, Nebraska, North Dakota, officially until 6 p.m., but they will not last that long as conditions improve tomorrow. But right now, some of the darker blue is right out here over the South Dakota plains. This is why I-90 is closed, and that situation will continue. Calling this a winter impact of 4, not because of the snow accumulation potential, it'll be on the lighter side of that category, but because of the potential for the winds and the roads. It is just an extreme scenario. So I-90 is closed to Chamberlain, to the Wyoming border, and then the black and red dotted lines, these are areas, highways where no travel is advised. That includes the northern Black Hills here. So this is a strong, severe situation, and also down here through the southern plains, areas south of I-90, no travel advised there also. Potential for snow by midnight-ish here. You know, we have the potential to see around 6 inches or so in Rapid City. The northern hills pushing over a foot as we get on toward morning. In Rapid City, we could be topping out around 8 inches or so. But again, so impossible to measure because of the blowing and drifting of this. It is rain out here in eastern South Dakota. The snow, the blowing snow continues even in toward morning. But as the storm pulls out, there'll still be some blowing and drifting of snow on the open plains. The winds die down tomorrow night, and Friday begins a very pleasant stretch of weather where we melt and we start to warm up. But tonight it's blizzard conditions, extreme winds, drifting, 40 to 60 mile per hour winds are going to howl as we drop down to the 20s, 25 in Rapid City. 31 for a high, still some areas of blowing snow early, some afternoon clearing, but 30 to 50 mile per hour winds continue for tomorrow. In Wyoming, Thursday and Friday, or Thursday really, and Friday and Saturday, all 3 days, you're warming up and clearing out. Saturday, the 40s in Sheridan. And in Spearfish and Deadwood, you'll get back into the 30s as skies clear out as we head into the beginning of the weekend. Rapid City, of course, the windy day tomorrow. Back to a 34 Friday, mostly sunny, lighter winds. 37 Saturday and Sunday, we could push up toward 40. Holding the 40s Monday and Tuesday. And Steve, it's March, 52. by Wednesday with our sunshine.
Wow.
But no travel advised tonight. Stay in, stay safe tonight because you don't want to get caught out in this. Roads are getting pretty icy.
Batten down the hatches, those winds pretty strong?
Oh, yeah. We can hear them howling here in the studio. It's just, it's kind of an eerie sound.
That it is. Thank you, Mike. Coming up after the break, despite the blizzard, state basketball tournaments are all set to go this week. And our Subway Athlete of the Week is going to cherish every second of it. We'll meet her when we come back with KOTA Territory Sports.
South Dakota State basketball tournaments open tomorrow night right here in Rapid City. And for one Stevens Raider, the chase for a state tournament means an awful lot just 1 year after a season-ending injury. Brendan Mackey introduces us to this week's Subway Athlete of the Week.
Basketball has always been a huge part of Grace Martin's life, but this season means so much more. Now a junior at Stevens High School, Martin has been a vital part of the Raiders' starting lineup. But at this time last year, she was not even able to walk.
I was playing basketball, and during the Gorman game last year, I jumped up and then landed on it wrong, and it just tore.
Grace tore her ACL and meniscus. Surgery took her out of doing physical activity for more than 6 months. But now she is back with this fancy-looking knee brace and couldn't be happier.
At the beginning, it definitely was something I had to get used to, but now I don't even notice it. It's like a new leg, pretty much.
Martin didn't just magically get better. It took endless hours of physical therapy and dedication, doing everything she could to get back on the court.
You know, anytime you go through an injury like that where it takes away some of your athletic ability, it takes a while for you to get confidence back in it, for you to feel whole again. It was really exciting to see, that momentum from all that work and all that, preparation, take place into a game.
There was no way an injury was going to keep her from coming back even stronger.
I just love all the friendships I've made out of it, all the close teammates I have, all the intensity, the late night games. I always want to win at everything, so winning is just really big. You have to compete to win.
Grace is happy to be back on the court, and her teammates are happy to have her back.
It's been awesome to have her back, yeah. And last year she was such a big part of our team, so losing her really was a big loss. She brings everything to the team. I mean, offensively, she's a big scorer. She's not afraid to shoot, and then also opens up other teammates.
Martin has developed into a different type of player than she was before the injury, but that just means more problems for those trying to guard her.
This year she's been a shooter, which is something that I can't say that she was in the past, but when your athletic ability is taken away, you have to learn how to play the game differently. And she really put a lot of emphasis on shooting the ball and making people play her differently.
Congrats to Grace on an incredible recovery and for being our Subway Athlete of the Week. In Rapid City, I'm Brendan Mackey.
The Raider girls will take on Harrisburg in a state tourney rematch at 1 o'clock in the Ice Arena tomorrow. The Stevens boys square off with Brennan Valley at 7 in the Barnett Arena. In Sioux Falls, Pine Ridge and Hot Springs meet in a West River clash at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, while the St. Thomas More boys meet Lennox in the Sioux Falls Arena. In the Class A girls tourney, Moore opens the tournament against Lennox as well at 4 o'clock in the Premier Center, while Todd County faces McCook Central Montrose at 4 in the arena. And that's it for sports tonight. We'll be back with more after this break.
People filled up their carts and cars before the storm. Many had the October 2013 blizzard on their mind with lessons learned. So today's storm didn't catch people nearly as off guard. Brooklyn DeGumbia spoke to folks around Rapid City on their preparations for the March 2019 blizzard and joins us live downtown.
Steve, earlier today, before it was almost impossible to be outside, to even stand outside, I went to a grocery store. I went to a liquor store. I wanted to see how people were going to prepare for this moment right now. Check it out.
These are the most popular items people picked up after they were warned about the blizzard. In such high demand, some stores were depleted.
I didn't get what I wanted. I have a turkey thigh, so thought we would have a turkey, and I don't see anything here that you can make a good stuffing with.
Sandra was expecting the empty shelf convenience because this has happened to her before.
Well, I've lived in Rapid all my life, so I've been through a number of storms.
Some know from the 2013 October blizzard that it's important to stock up, even on alcohol.
Keeps you warm.
The liquor store was Kenneth's first stop. He said it's a good day for him to drink because he won't be on the roads.
Now I'm going to go to the store and get some food.
Some family fairgoers had a nice surprise when a shipment of milk came in and filled the empty shelves. Water and soda also restocked.
My son is with me and my grandson, so yeah, for the three of us, make sure those guys eat.
You might think that it's a ghost town down here. You might think that no one's out. You might think that everyone's at home sipping hot chocolate, but you are wrong. We've seen a bunch of people already walk into Patty O'Neill's. This place is hopping tonight, guys. Back to you in the studio.
Brooklyn to Gumbia reporting live. Some folks here, very hardy folks indeed. The snow showing no signs of slowing down, but is there one area you can pinpoint, Mike, that is getting the worst of it right now?
Well, you know, on Doppler radar, you look for the dark blue areas, and really right around Rapid City and just to the east, then down to the south. That's a whole large area that's getting some of the worst of it at the moment. It's going to be horizontal snow through much of the night, so temperatures dropping down into the 20s, but those 40 to 60 mile per hour winds continue, and we'll still have blowing snow early in the morning. We'll get some clearing later on, but there still could be blowing snow out over the open plains.
Be careful. See you tonight at 10.
Thanks for watching KOTA Territory News, your local news and weather authority.